Recently, I made a video on Frontiers of Pandora, essentially talking about a wish list on what I would want for the future of this game. No spoilers, but we know the second and for now final DLC did end on quite a cliffhanger, and there are some unanswered questions to the game. And although many, including myself, do want this game to continue, recent reports does put a question mark on its future. Avatar Theory here, hope you're doing well and having a fantastic day. And recently there were two articles on Ubisoft from Insider Gaming, which I will put a link to in the pinned comment and the description below, talking about Ubisoft shutting down another studio, as well as an internal memo talking about recent layoffs. Now, the big reason why I'm talking about this is because some of this affects the people that worked on Avatar Frontiers of Pandora, so I do wonder what will happen with that game. Now, the first article was published on the 27th of January with the heading "Ubisoft shuts down another studio, 185 jobs lost." The article continues, quote, "Ubisoft is closing down another studio and downsizing multiple others as part of its continuing restructurings. The company is closing down its Leamington-based studio in the United Kingdom while it reduces headcount at locations in Dusseldorf, Stockholm, and Newcastle. As part of our ongoing efforts to prioritize projects and reduce costs that ensure long-term stability at Ubisoft, we have announced targeted restructurings at Ubisoft Dusseldorf, Ubisoft Stockholm, and Ubisoft Reflections, and the permanent closure of Ubisoft Leamington site," a Ubisoft spokesperson told Eurogamer. "Unfortunately, this should impact 185 employees overall. We are deeply grateful for their contributions and are committed to support them through this transition." End quote. Now, it is really unfortunate that so many people lost their jobs, and it's just frustrating to see Ubisoft close studios left and right when they waste money on NFT games and stuff that the average person can see from a mile away is not going to work. Now, the second article is more important and the one that I really want to expand on, as the heading states, quote, "Ubisoft's internal memo says recent layoffs is due to more efficient operating models." End quote. Now, the first part of this article just recaps on what I just spoke about, but the next bit is quite important. The update reads, quote, "Jeff Combos, studio manager of Ubisoft Dusseldorf, informed the studio yesterday about a plan to reduce its headcount by approximately 65 positions. Most of these reductions would affect production roles currently not assigned to active development for a prolonged period of time. The studios in Berlin and Mainz are not affected." Also yesterday, Lisa Opie, managing director of the UK studios, informed the teams about planned restructuring measures aimed at assuring Reflections' long-term stability and meeting its financial targets. Approximately 100 roles could be made redundant across Ubisoft Leamington and Ubisoft Reflections. Additionally, this proposal also includes the decision to close the Leamington site. I understand the uncertainty these changes will bring. We are committed to supporting everyone who may be impacted during this transition. Let me assure you, these decisions were not made lightly. We believe they are essential to improve our operational efficiency and ensure the long-term sustainability of our studios, the zone, and the company, says Benedict Grendel, Production Zone 4 Managing Director. End quote. Again, just really frustrating that they waste time and money that affects people's roles. But down at the bottom, there's a bit where the article actually mentions Avatar, stating, quote, "Speaking with both current and former employees at Ubisoft, it's currently unclear on if any Ubisoft projects were affected with the recent layoffs. It's understood that Ubisoft Reflections are primarily developing an unannounced World War II live servers extraction shooter named Crest, which was supported by some staff at Ubisoft Leamington. Ubisoft Leamington staff were working on Avatar content." End quote. Now, the key part to take away of this is, of course, the fact that the Leamington staff were working on Avatar content, which begs the question, are they still working on Avatar content? The social media accounts of Frontiers of Pandora has been pretty quiet about the future of this game, and we know there is still a lot of bugs to fix, not to mention the PS5 Pro version not working properly after the update, and the fact that the article says that the staff were working on Avatar content gives me the idea that there were probably future content for this game actively being worked on, but if it's still being worked on, I don't really know. It's a very gray area and uncertainty for the future of this game. And on top of all of this, recently Ubisoft had also announced that the latest DLC for The Division 2, I believe it's Year 6 DLC, has also been delayed, quite possibly to next year. So it does seem like there's a major shift coming to Ubisoft, which will ultimately affect all their projects. Now we know their major title being released within the next month and a half is Assassin's Creed Shadows, and if that does not sell well, then the future of Ubisoft is not looking good. Now I do need to point out that I am part of the Ubisoft creator program, but the higher ups at the company have been making some really stupid decisions that has affected many jobs in the company simply because of bad management. I think if there's not going to be any change with the management, with the higher ups, then I fear the worst for Ubisoft. There's already been talks about them being bought out by Tencent, and I think by the end of the year, that might be what we will be looking at. That is, of course, if, say, Sony or Microsoft doesn't come in and buys Ubisoft first, which I think might be better, but still, things are not looking good for Ubisoft. And like I said, if Assassin's Creed Shadows fails to meet expectations, then I fear the worst for this company. Again, it's just frustrating to see that the company is struggling, yet they release stupid things like these NFT games and try and push out live service game after live service game after live service game when they've done so in the past, only for it to ultimately fail. Ubisoft is great with single player games, story driven games, and when it comes to online co-op games, they should stick to what they're good with, that being like The Division or The Crew, which is fantastic multiplayer games, instead of trying to pursue this live service model, which has been the downfall for many companies in the past. I mean, right out of the top of my head, Concord coming to mind. But like I said, reading this line where it says that the Leamington staff were working on Avatar content is kind of sad to see, because that ultimately leaves a question mark to the future of Frontiers of Pandora. But what do you think about this news, and what do you think is going to be the future of this game? Do you think Ubisoft is just going to announce that they're done supporting this game, or do you think they're going to try and push out one more DLC and then be done with it? Let me know in the comments below, and for more Avatar content, have a look at the rest of my channel. Until next time, have a fantastic day and stay safe.